Certainly. Below is a detailed script based on your article about Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle's appointment as the new Pope. The world had just witnessed a monumental moment in the history of the Catholic Church, the announcement that Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, the Archbishop of Manila, would be the next Pope sent shockwaves across the globe. This wasn't just another papal election, it marked the dawn of a new era, one that was poised to bring transformation, hope, and a renewed sense of purpose to the Church and its millions of followers worldwide. The tension in St. Peter's Square was palpable. People gathered in silence, eyes fixed on the balcony of the Vatican as the fate of the Church hung in the balance. It was a moment that felt almost timeless, an ancient tradition unfolding before millions of expectant eyes. For nearly 500 years, the Pope had come from the heart of Europe, a legacy that now seemed ready to shift. This time, the Vicar of Christ was chosen from beyond the confines of Europe. Cardinal Tagle, a beloved figure not only in the Philippines but around the world, emerged as a symbol of change in a rapidly evolving world. Inside the Sistine Chapel, the cardinals had gathered to elect a new Pope. The process was steeped in prayer, speculation, and deep responsibility. The cardinals knew that their decision would shape the future of the Church, guiding the lives of 1.3 billion Catholics worldwide. And so, the conclave began. Days turned into nights, filled with the whispers of prayer and uncertainty. The weight of their duty was immense, as they chose the leader who would steer the Church through a complex, challenging world. Then, on that fateful day, the moment arrived. A plume of white smoke rose from the chimney above the Sistine Chapel. The crowd in St. Peter's Square gasped collectively. The news spread like wildfire. Habemus Papam, the new Pope, had been chosen. The excitement and joy were palpable as the announcement echoed around the world. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, a man known for his warmth, humility, and deep faith, had been elected the 266th Pope of the Catholic Church. Born in the Philippines, Cardinal Tagle's rise to prominence was marked by a combination of intellectual rigor and a deep commitment to the people. As a young theologian, he had earned a doctorate from the prestigious Pontifical Gregorian University, and his leadership journey had been a testament to his unwavering faith and devotion. Before becoming Archbishop of Manila, he had served as Bishop of Imus, where his pastoral care and deep empathy for the people shone through. His rise within the Church was steady and purposeful, grounded in a love for Christ and an intense desire to serve the faithful. What made Cardinal Tagle so beloved was his ability to connect with people on a personal level. He was not just a figurehead of the Church, but a man who embodied its teachings. His interactions with the people, whether in the busy streets of Manila or the remote villages, were marked by authenticity and care. He wasn't interested in mere formality. Instead, he sought to understand the struggles, joys, and hopes of those he encountered. His humble presence and genuine smile made people feel valued and seen, even in their most vulnerable moments. Cardinal Tagle's vision for the Church was both profound and radical in many ways. He understood that the Church was not just an institution, it was a living, breathing body of Christ, meant to engage with the world and serve those who needed it most. His vision for the Church was rooted in the teachings of Christ, particularly in his call to love and serve the poor, the marginalized, and the forgotten. He had long been a champion of social justice, calling for systemic changes that addressed the root causes of poverty and inequality. Tagle's message was simple but powerful. The Church must be a beacon of hope, not just for the rich and powerful, but for everyone, especially the most vulnerable. His vision wasn't just about words, it was about action. As Archbishop of Manila, he had consistently worked to improve the lives of the poor, fighting for better conditions for those living in the slums, advocating for the rights of refugees, and pushing for a more just and equitable society. His work had brought him into close contact with activists, community leaders, and ordinary people, all of whom were inspired by his dedication to justice and his willingness to stand up for what was right. One of Cardinal Tagle's most notable qualities was his deep spirituality. He was a man who led with humility and grace, always relying on prayer and reflection to guide his actions. His devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus was not just a personal, devotion but a source of strength for his ministry. Tagle's spirituality was reflected in his approach to leadership. He believed in listening to others, seeking God's guidance, and acting with compassion in all things. His humility and reliance on prayer served as a reminder that leadership in the Church was not about power or prestige, but about service and selflessness. As the new Pope, Pope Tagle's vision for the future of the Church was clear. He emphasized inclusivity, a church that would reach out to those on the margins, a church that would not remain isolated, but would engage with the world around it. He sought to create a church that was deeply committed to dialogue and reconciliation, a place where people of all faiths and backgrounds could come together to find common ground and work for the greater good. Pope Tagle's commitment to inclusivity was not just theoretical, it was evident in his actions. He visited hospitals, spent time with community leaders, and reached out to marginalized groups. He made it clear that the Church was not a fortress to be defended, but a home to be open to all. His embrace of diversity was seen in his efforts to engage with people from all walks of life, fostering a sense of unity and solidarity that transcended cultural, social, and religious boundaries. But perhaps one of the most striking aspects of Pope Tagle's approach to leadership was his ability to inspire others. He was not just a pope who preached, but one who lived his faith with authenticity. His actions spoke louder than words. From visiting impoverished communities to advocating for the rights of the oppressed, Pope Tagle showed the world what it meant to live a life of service, humility, and love. As news of his election spread across the globe, the reaction was overwhelming. From the streets of Manila to the grand cathedrals of Europe, people celebrated the election of Pope Tagle. The faithful rejoiced, seeing in him a pope who represented their hopes, their struggles, and their aspirations for a better world. It wasn't just Catholics who celebrated. World leaders, religious figures, and people of all faiths recognized the significance of his election. Pope Tagle's appointment was a victory for everyone who longed for a more just and compassionate world. The challenges ahead for Pope Tagle were immense. The Catholic Church was facing numerous internal divisions, external pressures, and the ever-present need to remain relevant in a rapidly changing world. Secularism, new social norms, and the challenges of modernity were just a few of the issues the Church was grappling with. But Pope Tagle's election brought a renewed sense of hope. His message of inclusivity, his commitment to social justice, and his deep empathy resonated with millions around the world. People saw in him a leader who could bridge the gap between tradition and modernity, someone who could make the Church's teachings relevant in today's context. Pope Tagle's papacy promised to be one of transformation. His vision for the Church was one that embraced